What if discipline becomes a distraction? Yeah, you heard that right. What if discipline becomes a distraction? I was listening to a podcast. It was actually a reel, and she was promoting her podcast. And she made the first statement saying that of all the female founders that she interviewed, and they were, I think, 500, what they all had in common was this specific trait: discipline. And she was praising that, saying how a lot of times, we see the overnight success, we hear the amazing stories and the revenues and all of that, but none of them, maybe one or two, but not really any of them, had an overnight success. A lot of times behind the doors, it would take years to pivot and to do things. As I heard that, I'm like, okay, I have discipline. Apart from walking 10K steps every day, I have the discipline to show up on YouTube every day. I started this YouTube journey this year saying I will put creation first. Every day I'm going to create something. And for me, it was really to honor creativity, to show myself like, hey, Ash, there's always something to share. There is always beauty to create. Let's lead with that, and hopefully that will give more clarity about all the things that I get to do here, and build skill set and help myself put myself out there without worrying about what people may think and do or say. And now I'm almost 6 months in, guys, almost 6 months in, and what I start to notice is discipline is not even negotiable, right? I just show up, it's just something I do, but I really feel lately that it is discipline that is actually keeping me away from pivoting. I have to show up every day, and then the editing and all of that around it. I've been making documentaries, guys. I've been making vlogs. I've been making meditations, and mostly it's talking headshots like these. But the work behind it, uploading, thinking of thumbnails, all of that, it has taken a lot of time, to the point where I feel like this discipline has become a distraction, because I'm not really building towards something, and I really felt like, okay, this is me in real life questioning what am I doing here. You can start with a specific idea, but once you are on the move, right, once you're on that path, you get feedback, you get insights, you really feel what it really means to do certain things. And then it would be foolish if you don't question, like, okay, is this really the right way for me to move forward? Or is it time for me to pivot or to do it a little bit different? And I'm not saying that I'm about to say, okay, I'm gonna stop. But what I am saying, and I kind of already highlighted that in yesterday's episode, is like, there needs to be a change here. And for me, it's like, okay, creation in itself is not enough anymore. I want it to now become focused on something specific. And right now, the creativity is broad. In the beginning, that gave me freedom, and right now, that freedom is actually costing me a lot of my flexibility and time to build on the business and all the other stuff that I really want to focus on. Let me give you an example. You can be disciplined in a business model that basically drains you, or a relationship that isn't really aligned anymore. Routines that don't really serve you, or being busy because that's just what you do, but it really takes away, that's kind of what I'm in right now, of the things that you want to explore further, and then it's like, well, this discipline, this drive is actually now holding me back from the other things that I feel called to do. And I wanted to open that up because, yeah, a lot of times you assume that discipline is a great skill set. I once made an episode about, sometimes quitting is the best thing to do. I'm right now in this phase, and this is why I'm documenting this as well, because it takes a crazy person to be like, okay, I'm just gonna create every day on YouTube, which is a whole different thing, a whole different animal than creating a little video or a little reel on Instagram, which can be done behind the scenes. You don't always have to be front facing, but YouTube, it really requires so much more work at the back end of uploading thumbnails and titles and all of that. it really does take a lot more work. And so it takes a crazy person to do that. What I do now is I go back to, why did I start in the first place? What was my main focus? And for me, it was a few things. It was, I really wanted to put creation first. Second, I wanted to prove myself that I always have something to share. I think I proved that. And third, I really wanted to really face one of my biggest fears, if not the biggest fear that I have personally, and that was really truly showing myself, you know. And I think, and a lot of artists will agree and will understand, because I do consider myself an artist, it is so scary to put your work out there and see all the flaws and know it's not ready and know it's not perfect. And me showing up as me is exactly that, you know. It's like, oof, I should have done that better, or that, you know, like, I think the first meditation, I was like, oh my God, I should have used a microphone, which is what I did the next time. A lot of things you see, but you just, by forcing yourself to do it daily, you just put it out there. And that's what I loved about the challenge that I gave myself, because I had no time to become critical. I had no time to second guess myself. And I really forced myself to be in the now and to create and let that be run, you know, like that creativity, all of it, to let it just flow. But now, almost 6 months in, I mean, in 2 weeks, it's like, yeah, like 2 weeks, guys. I'm 6 months in, which is crazy. I don't have those parameters anymore, because I already proved that point for myself. I already feel secure in front of the camera. I don't mind putting bad work out. I'm not second guessing myself, you know. Now the question is more like, okay, but what am I building towards? Because I want to use my time effectively, and I want to build something while I'm doing that. And another thing that is, you know, something that's really real for creators, especially when they're in my phase, when they're still building up, like I basically started from scratch. You don't always hear feedback. You don't always hear if people really value what you're creating. So there's like 6 months in of a lot of work. Like my friend made a comment the other day. She was inspired by this. Well, it became a documentary. It wasn't supposed to become a documentary, but this documentary that I created for both Missy on her groove method and also on Louis and his beautiful taco place. And she said, Ash, you inspired me. I want to do this too for someone I know personally. And so she created a reel out of that. And she said, oh my God, I spent so much time creating this. It really made me think of you, but yeah, you're so much faster because, you know, you're now experienced. And I was thinking, I didn't say anything, so she will hear it now if she listens. But I was like, babe, I spent 2 days on it. And that's what people don't know, you know, because then my creative mind is like, yeah, I can do this and this and this and blah, 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 put it all together. And I get addicted to that because it's just so beautiful. And I see the potential of it and I see it coming alive. And then I'm like, 2 days in, creation is done, and I don't even have the energy to make a reel out of it because I already spent so much time on the long form. And then you only have maybe a few likes. And it's not that I do it for the likes, but it's more like, what am I really putting my energy and focus on? Because it takes so much time now. It's not just showing up anymore. It has become a whole production house. And then it's really time to really be clear. And I was thinking yesterday as I was walking, like, okay, listen, I'm gonna be in the Netherlands for a few months in the summer with the little one. I want to spend time with the family. I want to spend time with the little one. He doesn't have school for 2 months. Like, I don't have time to make whole productions every day. That's just not going to be possible. So I have to now already start thinking, how am I going to do this if I really want to continue showing up? And what I was also thinking is, you know, maybe the fact that I am driven is actually now working against me, which is why I have this title for today's episode. We always say that it's so amazing when we're disciplined, but what if the discipline is actually costing you? You know, what if I would be better off having 3 main productions or 2 main productions every week where I really have the time and devotion to think about it, to create it, because I already proven my point of showing up every day, right? Like, I already hit those parameters. And then I also have time to redistribute it and give it the love and care and the follow-up that it deserves. Nobody's waiting to see me every day, as far as I know. And so the whole reason I started this challenge, mission is already accomplished. So why am I still doing this? What am I proving here? Also because the creativity itself has become, a huge thing now. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to really start building something specific. And so as I'm thinking about that, and I really am so grateful that, my trip to the Netherlands is around the corner, which makes it really important for me to make that decision and to become clear. Like, one thing is for sure, I love YouTube and I will continue coming. But what's also sure for me is like, I need to really shift gear. And I need to, as I'm on this path, make a little U-turn to make it sustainable and enjoyable and more specific for myself as I'm on this journey. And this is where I want to say, yeah, discipline is so freaking powerful. And I remain to the same thing at the same time, like this different side of the coin, and the different side of the coin says, but if you are disciplined and building the wrong thing, it can actually hurt you. And then you're just doing it to do it, but you're not really retrieving the data. I honestly don't even have time to retrieve data, to look at what is performing, what's not performing, to look at titles and be like, okay, maybe I can change the title a little bit of this specific episode, and maybe then people will watch it because the video itself is amazing. You know what I mean? I am starting to see things differently as when I started. And so from the woman that started, what I needed was a crazy, crazy goal, showing up every day, And I'm happy that I did that. It got me so much out of my comfort zone, right? And now, almost 6 months in, I'm like, but I'm not her anymore, right? And I know where I'm heading, and I know who I'm choosing to be. And that asks for a different point of view. And do I want to continue the coming 6 months so I can say, oh, I completed my whole year because I want to prove to the world that I'm disciplined? Or am I going to allow myself to pivot and trust my instincts, and not just instincts, but just logic sense, and like, hey, we're now building something which is different than what I did there, and so it's time to make some changes. I have not decided yet, but I wanted to share this vulnerable, very honest feedback. And I hope it inspires you with whatever you're building. That, yeah, discipline is a freaking important skill set. It's why after recording this, I'm about to walk outside and have the final 4,000 steps for today. But it doesn't mean that discipline means that you have to stick your course. Because I will continue showing up, but we sometimes have to pivot and make some changes so that it actually fits who you are becoming as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in tomorrow's episode. Ciao, ciao.